She kind of writes girls who are like a little dumb, but I'm a little dumb, so I think that's fine. I can't believe it's the end of January already. Actually, it's well into February as I'm filming this, but we're gonna roll with it. So I'm gonna talk about everything I read in January, starting with the stats. I read 19 books in January, 9 of those were novellas, 1 was a DNF. I had 4 books off my physical TBR. 4 of the books were audiobooks, 1 was an audio ARC, and 1 was a physical library loan. In the month of January, I read or listened to over 5,000 pages, which is insane. And my average rating was 3.59 stars. It's a pretty average reading month, but there was a couple highs and a couple lows. So I read 9 novellas in preparation for a series that I'm doing over on TikTok, where I'm reading 100 novellas in 100 days. If you want to hear more about those novellas specifically, you can visit my TikTok page. I'll post it below, but I'm just gonna rapid fire through the novellas I read and what I rated them. So I read The Best Girls, which I gave 4 stars, A Kiss on a Dare, 3 stars, How It Unfolds, 4 stars, One Lucky Subscriber, 2 stars, Puck Now, Talk Later, 2 stars, Silly Pucking Mistakes, 3.5 stars, Best Pucking Friends, 4 stars, Second Pucking Chances, 3.5 stars, and A Mirror Mended, 4 stars. For the rest of the books, I'm gonna go in order from least liked to most liked because I like to save the best for last. I like to savor the moment. So starting out with my lowest rated, it was Egghead by Bo Burnham. This is a book of poetry and it was written in 2013. I really do enjoy Bo Burnham, but I find him to be like a little edgy for edgy's sake, especially back then. And so some of these poems are kind of along those lines. Some of them are really, really good. Some are just silly and some just like did not age very well, but that's pretty typical of Bo Burnham humor. I'm gonna read my favorite poem in the book, and it's called You. How may I ask, did you get so you? You beautiful, true to you doer. I've met so many today, but I can honestly say I've never met anyone youer. And I just like that one. I thought it was cute and very like Bo Burnham in his more sincere moments. Next up we have Iron Flame. This is my first foray into the Fourth Wing series. I will talk about Fourth Wing in a minute, but Iron Flame I rated pretty low at 3.5 stars. And honestly, I feel I was being generous because I do not have that many positive thoughts towards Iron Flame. I felt that it fell so flat, especially compared to Fourth Wing, which was so well done, in my opinion, as someone who's not a huge consumer of fantasy. Fourth Wing was an excellent introduction into fantasy. Iron Flame, the follow-up, for me, didn't hit the mark. It was extremely long, but so many of the plot points just were not necessary. I felt that it could have been 200 pages shorter and still gotten to the same point. Coming in at 3.5 stars, we have The Woman in Cabin 10. This was just okay. It was a very typical thriller for me. What I did think that Ruth Ware did really well was kind of give you this sense of like foreboding and dread from the very first page. It kind of sets a tone for like a darker book, but I felt that that tone that was so well set at the beginning just kind of doesn't translate as the plot progresses. It was good. There was some plot twists. Some of them were predictable. Some of them just felt a little unearned, but overall it was good. It was fine. It was fine, but it wouldn't be like in my top recommendations for thrillers. I'm a huge Freida McFadden girly, so when she dropped The Crash, I dropped everything immediately and went to listen to the audiobook, which I was so thankful to get through my library on Libby. This is pretty typical Freida McFadden book. She kind of writes girls who are like a little dumb, but I'm a little dumb, so I think that's fine. I enjoyed it. It was extremely fast-paced, extremely easy to listen to, and you know, it hit the right notes for me. The plot twist was good, a little predictable. I think that I'm just getting used to Freida McFadden plot twists, and so my brain can kind of understand where the plot's going to go because I've read so many of her books at this point. But for Freida McFadden, I thought this was like a home run, very bingeable, very good to read if you're in like a reading slump. But again, it didn't stand out to me as an all-time favorite. Would I reach for it again? Probably not. That's why it only got 3.5 stars. How to Fake It in Hollywood, I rated 3.5 stars. This is a very run-of-the-mill fake dating celebrity type romance. And for the first half of the book, I was really enjoying it. I love a fake dating plot. I think they're cheesy. I think they're cute. And this was doing it for me. till we got to about 60%, and I realized, oh no, we're at 60% and they're happy. Which you know can only mean one thing, a third act breakup. I don't mind a third act breakup. I know why they're there. They're a plot device and they're a very handy plot device. However, this doesn't have one third act breakup. It's got two. You heard that right. Clock them, count them, 2 third act breakups. Infuriating. But up until that point, I was having a good time. I thought they were a lot of fun. I really liked the way that they grew through the story. There is a ton of character growth in this book, which I normally do love and enjoy. I just think that the 2 breakups at the end of this knocked it down at least 1 star. And so that's why it's sitting at 3.5. If not, I would put it higher. Blackout, which is by various authors featuring teens during a citywide blackout in New York City. This was really, really fun. I just saw this at the library under a short stories setup, and I thought this looked interesting. This was good. I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars. There is one overarching story, and then interspersed throughout, there is a bunch of short stories. It was really well done. I really liked the way it all tied together at the end, and definitely worth the read. I started listening to the audiobook of Lights Out back in November and just got distracted with the holidays and the new year. So I finally went back to it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. However, I will say the plot twist towards the end of the book totally made the book nosedive for me. I felt like this would have been a 5-star read because of how much I was enjoying it, until like the whole mafia side twist thing. That was very weird to me. It came very much out of nowhere and I didn't like it. I just think that that plot twist towards the end of the book with the mafia, and I don't want to spoil it, but like I hated that. However, I like the characters enough to still give it like a 4 star because I really do like Josh and Allie. They're a lot of fun. I don't like dark romances where it's non-consensual. And so for me, this was a lot of fun because Allie was very much into it. I really liked their banter. The smut scenes were extremely smutty and kind of wild, honestly, but I had a good time. And so usually I just go based on vibes. The audiobook is a really, really fun listen. I also listened / read Fourth Wing, which I gave 4.5 stars. I really liked Fourth Wing. It was a great introduction book for someone who's not super into fantasy and wanted to like kind of get in on the hype. I wanted to see what the dragons were all about and what Xaden was all about, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked Violet throughout this whole book. I love that she was sort of a scrappy underdog with a bit of a twist. She's very intelligent, she's very clever, and she kind of games the system in a way to get to the ultimate goal, which is honestly just surviving. I like that it was very high stakes from the get-go. It kind of dropped you into the plot and you're rooting for her right away. She's very kind to the people around her. She develops these really good friendships that, you know, get forged in the fire as we go through the series. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really liked Xaden. I kind of got the hype of Xaden. I wish he would have been a little bit more of a developed character. I understand that mystery is part of the reason why people love him, but for me, I like to see a little more character development in my book boyfriends. I had a good time. I went based off vibes. I did find the beginning a little slow, but once you hit the 60% mark, it kind of just takes off running. And I was running right along with it. I was able to listen to Pole Position this month as an audio arc. I love this. This was so much fun. I've read a couple of Formula One racing romances before, and they weren't really for me. I really liked the 2 lead characters, Kian and Harper. They had a really great like banter and dynamics. It's very much rivals to lovers. There was like a little bit of an age gap, and I really, really enjoyed it. You got kind of like this cocky rookie up-and-comer and a people-pleasing veteran who is trying to defend his championship. There's a lot of headbutting and rivalry. There is like a taking care of him when he's sick scene, which I adored. It was one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. And a lot of depth for what is like a spicy, like smutty sports romance. There was a lot of depth to these characters, a lot of character growth in both characters, which I love to see. I love a character-driven plot, and this was very much that. I got really, really emotional during some of the scenes of it, and it was really, really fun. I love the audiobook. I love both voice actors. Definitely worth a listen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please. My favorite book of the month is going to go to The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Very rare that a YA gets my favorite book of the month, but this was honestly so good. I don't know why I put it off for so long. It's essentially about a group of teenagers with natural abilities who are recruited to a secret, possibly unsanctioned program for the FBI where they are tasked to help solve cold cases. Cassie is the main character in this book, and she's essentially a natural profiler. She is very skilled in profiling, and she joins this task force with the hopes of solving her mother's disappearance, and then she becomes the target of a serial killer who is currently active. This was so well done. I loved the characters in this. Cassie was such a great protagonist. I loved the love triangle between Cassie, Michael, and Dean. I'm Team Dean. I know he's a bit of a bad boy, but I don't trust Michael, and I haven't trusted him since day one. The plot twist was insane. I honestly never could have guessed that, never could have seen it coming in a million years. I thought it was so well done, and I honestly can't wait to go on to the other books in this series. And that's everything I read in January. It was a very exciting and very productive reading month for me, and I'm very excited to go into February. I have so much planned, so much reading to do, and I'm really excited to finally actually get a running start on this channel. If you want to hear more about my reading journey, please come along and join me. I would love to have you subscribe and build a community here, because I am starting from scratch and I am excited about that. What did you read for January? What are your February hopefuls? I know we're well into February at this point, so what have you read in February? And I will see you in the next one.